Peace everyone, I'm Mascart here and welcome to part 2 of How to Draw Anime. In part 1, I gave you a proportional chart and taught you how to create a character base. In part 2, I will be showing you how to draw the head, the face, the eyes, and the hair. And in part 3, we're going to finish our character by putting clothes on him. So just like in part 1, I am going to be giving you this reference sheet so that you can refer to it during this tutorial. Okay, so let's go ahead and start drawing. Since we started with our circles in the beginning and the top circle was a head, I'm going to show you how to build the heads within the circle. That way it's easier to fit onto the character. If you are new to this style or new to drawing in general, I recommend doing a forward-facing head. It's the easiest one to do, and then once you get better at it, you can start turning the head to different angles. So the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to find the center line to your face. Since this face is facing forward and I'm going to be putting it tilted, I'm just going to draw it just like this down the center of the circle. One of the things about drawing the face facing forward is you never want to draw it perfectly symmetrical. You always want to give it a little bit of a turn to give it a little bit more character. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the circle in half this way. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the sides of the circle. And the amount that I cut off is 1/3 of this line from here to here. The next guideline, halfway in between this and this point here, a line just like this. And I'm going to do another one just below it, and it's going to be 1/3 from here to here. So it's going to be about here. And I'm going to go up 1/3 like this, so right here, just like that. And that is going to be my guidelines for the face. So starting with the chin, I'm going to start with the chin down here, my center line, and I'm going to just curve it up. And then where this line crosses this bottom part here, I'm going to just cut it off a little bit, just like that. And then at the top, just round this off here. Now we're going to move on to mapping out the face. Similar to how I use these guidelines to create the head shape, we are now going to use it to create the face. Now you'll notice that this guideline here is the mouth, this guideline here is the nose, and this guideline is the center point of the eyes. And the way I like to do the eyes is I like to draw squares first. This allows you to get the eyes symmetrical, and squares are really easy to draw. And you can even throw some ears on. You'll see that the ears come to this line here and then down to the nose. This line here is the eyebrows, so I'm just going to draw some generic eyebrows just to put them in. Alright, now we have the face all mapped out. Now it's time to get a little bit more detailed in using the reference chart that I gave you. You can choose the facial expression and the eye style. After you've decided what facial expression you want, go ahead and use the reference chart to draw the mouth and the eyebrows. And for noses, I find that it is easier to just draw a small triangle for the bottom of the nose. So getting on to the eyes. Another reason I like to use the squares is because 1, it's easy, and 2, you can get the same size very easily and symmetrical. The other reason, as you can see from the reference chart, is that you can map out the shape of the eyes quite easily. So for the eyes, you start with the inside corner and just cut it off a little bit and come up to the top of the eye and then come over and find your other corner. And the next thing, I'm just going to create the little corner of the eye, and I think I'll just come all the way down just like that. One of the things that I like to do is just give the eye a lot of thickness, and that gives the effect of the eyelashes, and then just flare it out for some eyelashes. You can add another fold up here, and I draw the iris and the pupil, and that's it for the eyes. For my character, since she's going to be happy, I'm going to raise my eyebrows just a little bit, and I think I will make her winking. So I'm actually going to erase this eye here and just create a closed eye. After you have all of that done, you can go ahead and erase your guidelines on the face. Alright, now that we have the head and face all done, the last thing to do for this video is the hair. I'm going to teach you the 3 guidelines that I use every time I create a hairstyle. The first thing that I think about when drawing the hair is the bangs. The style that I want the bangs determine how it falls across the face. So for this character, I kind of want just the swoopy bangs off to the side of the face. And the first thing that I do is I kind of build the bangs in a block. I'm just going to kind of fill this space on top of the head. The next thing that I think about is the anchor point in which all the hairs are kind of flowing from. One of the most important parts of drawing hair is the flow. The flow of the hair gives it that soft texture that you want. So I'm going to put my anchor point kind of right here, and all of my hairs are just going to flow straight from that point. So I'm just going to draw lines from that point and kind of get the initial shape. Alright, so the next part of the hair that I kind of think of is what I call the helmet. And the helmet is the body of the hair that sits on top of the head. And it kind of gives me the same guide that I used for the bangs, but for the rest of the hair. So I just kind of draw a larger circle around the head to give me the helmet or the body of the hair. So that's the helmet. Her hair is just going to be about down to here somewhere. That's where I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it about here. I'm just making this up as I go. So the flow of the hair will be just some curvy lines that kind of come down here. So nothing fancy, and just drew some lines to kind of start a shape. Now I kind of want this character to have some style, so I'm just going to kind of give her little ponytails on either side, and I'm just going to kind of throw hairs out. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some hairs in front of the body, and I'm just going to kind of curl them right off the face a little bit, just like this. And I'm just kind of throwing lines out. I'm not really trying to create the final look. It's best to just kind of throw out some lines and see what happens. Nothing too exact here. It's all kind of sketching at this point. That's pretty much it for my guidelines of the hair. The only thing really to do once you kind of throw your lines down and get the shape and style that you want for your hair is to create motion. So I'm going to go ahead and erase some of my guidelines here, and then I'm going to show you how to create motion in the hair and texture. Alright, now that I have my guidelines erased, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is creating flow and texture in the hair. Now, when it comes to twisting a hair, for instance, we'll look at this here. Just going to create kind of a spike. To create the motion in this hair, to give it the look and feel of hair, you're just going to take one from one side to the other. You're just going to take a nice smooth line and just take it over. And you can do that more than once. To create the texture of the hair, there's 2 things that you can do. You can add a flyaway, which is just a loose hair, just like that, or you can double up on a single line. So for instance, this line here, instead of just creating one line, you can create a line right next to it, just like this. And that gives the texture of the hair. You have her bangs here, so I'm going to just bring a line up like this, and I have this hair here. I'm going to create one line right next to it, just like this. And I'm going to add a second line here, another line like that. And for these hairs here, I'm just going to put in a flyaway. That pretty much does it. I will add another line coming up just like this to create that motion, just like this, going from one side to another. And I will do the same over here from one side to the other. Add another hair here, maybe a flyaway. I'll add a few lines here to create texture. And that's pretty much it. This will be a flyaway here as well. And that pretty much covers how I do hair. Alright, and there you have it, our finished character. You have the character base, the face, the facial expression, the eyes, and the hair. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Be sure to give this video a like and a share so that other people can learn as well. And I look forward to seeing you finishing your character in part 3. And you can also support my channel on Patreon. It allows me to create these tutorials and offer them for free. Thanks again. Take care. Peace.